if you look at Africa, and then Africa, if you divide into West and East, if you look at East Africa, the East African belt has many countries, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Malawi, and we are looking at 100 million Muslims on that East African belt, one. There are aspirations for Africa to connect with Asia. And, this corridor flows through the UAE. There are ambitions on part of the government also to make sure that they connect these two regions together and make Africa and Asia as trade partners. There is trade that is flourishing between the two countries, two continents rather, but it requires to flow through a geographical jurisdiction, which is UAE. And we are, I think, naturally placed in the heart of that ambition to try and take Islamic finance to an area that you say is uncharted. There are actually 2 Islamic banks operating within Kenya. But I think our positioning in East Africa is not that we are bringing Islamic banking. One thing, Syed, you should understand is we are not banking on beliefs here. We are not trying to go and sell the Islamic prophecy that, if you're a Muslim, you need to have an Islamic bank. Everything that we do is within our DNA is Islamic. So there will be no compromise ever on that. But we want to make sure that there is a value proposition for the clientele that we want to service. And so, for example, we'll have to compete on price, we'll have to compete on service, we'll have to compete on technology, we'll have to compete on all those key USPs that people compete on. And guess what? We are Islamic in nature. But what we are going to do is we say that we are competing on all these key USPs that I have mentioned, and we do our business Islamically. So I think that approach and that philosophy makes sure that, people open their hearts and their minds to try and even explore what kind of banking this is. In the West, we call it ethical banking. In some of the countries, other countries, we call it participation banking. We call it Islamic banking in our part of the world. But it's a nomenclature. It's the way you are doing your business defines who you are. And if you do it with what the audience is looking for, what the people are looking for in terms of products, in terms of service, in terms of technology, in terms of price, and you do it Islamically, I think you can make it a more globally recognized brand. In fact, we are working with the government also now to look at tapping, international capital markets and sovereign space. Islamic banking is, there is a reputation that precedes us, thankfully. And we have gathered some excellent momentum, even though we've not started operations on the ground, and we are dealing with regulators right now, and it's always a process. But we've received some fantastic feedback, and I think we are very keen to start operations very soon, so that we can start expanding in other areas of Africa as well.